In AKAWA village, every twins or multiple births that is born, they will ensure that they kill them. They didn't allow any multiple birth child to survive. Once they give birth to twins, triplets, quadruplets, quintuplets, sextuplets, they must kill. They will kill. They didn't want to see any child that was, they saw them as, children that were demonic. They didn't see them like a gift from God. So in AKAWA, they decided that one day they called for a meeting, because at some point it was like all the women were in one particular street, were just giving birth to multiple children. So they went to the king and asked him, "King, live forever. King, the way this thing is going, do you think we should continue slaying these children? These children are innocent. They didn't do anything." The king said, well, that the rule is that any child, that no woman must give birth to 2 children at once. No woman must give birth to 3 children at once. No woman must give birth to 4 children, 5 children, 6 children at once. They must be slayed. So the king told them this, and the elders of the land went back. They had their own meeting. They were like, if they don't abolish this kind of tradition and this custom, it's going to be a very bad thing. That they have noticed that recently children are being born. You see a woman is giving birth to 2, 3 children at once, and it's giving some great concern that each time they slay a child, they bring a curse upon their land. And that has made it so difficult for the community to progress. So while they were deliberating on this, somebody came up with a suggestion that they should go back to the king and explain things to the king. That the last time they slayed children, this is what happened, this is what happened. That the king is going to listen to them. That was how they went back to the king. They gave him all the praise singing. King, may you live long. King of AKAWA Kingdom, King one of AKAWA. They did every praise singing, and the king listened to them. He said, what do I owe the visit? And one of the men who suggested that they should come to see the king again stood up and greeted the king and said, King, may you live long. He gave him reasons. He said the last time they slayed children, the multiple birth babies, that they couldn't sleep well, and the land was in mourning, and everywhere was quiet, that there was darkness over everywhere, that this is not usual. It shows that the gods are not even happy that this is happening. King AKAWA said, the king of the AKAWA is also King AKAWA, said that he will not even want to stop the killing of multiple birth children, because he feels that how can a woman give birth to 2, 3, 4 children at once? That is evil. So they went back again, and this time they saw that a missionary was visiting their place, and in that community, they did not wear clothes. They didn't have clothes to wear. They were wearing leaves. You have to look for leaves and put it together to cover as their ornaments. They didn't know clothes and all that. So when the white people came, they decided to visit the village, because they've heard about this village, how in that village they kill multiple birth children, and they didn't want to stop the killing. So when they spoke to the white people, came in, and they came in their bicycle. They spoke to some villagers and asked them if this is true. The villagers said yes, that has been the practice. That has been the practice over how many years now, that they have refused to stop the killing of multiple births. The white men asked to see the Igwe, that's their king. As they got to see the king was taken aback. What's going on? Why are they here? He was being hostile. He didn't even give them an opportunity to tell him why they came. So the white men explained why they came, that the reason they came is because his community is a very beautiful community, that they have heard very good things about the community. They say, King, live long, because they asked how they greet the king in their community, and when they mentioned, he said, King, live long. And the king was now relaxed, because they had praised him, how his community is the best, that they heard that he's the best king in the whole environment, that he's a good king, he protects his people. By the time they finished praising the king was now so happy. He now asked them, to what does he owe do I owe this visit? So they began to tell him that. They now started showing him. When the white men came, they came with the Bible. And when they came with the Bible, they decided to start telling them about what the Bible said. And the king said no, that they should not bring a white man God to this place, that them, they have their own God, that their own God has been in existence even before the white man God, that please, they should not talk about it. The people said no, that they just want to show him in the Bible how this thing is, how God. They asked the king, do you believe in God Almighty? He said yes, he believes in God Almighty, and that God Almighty exists and his own gods exist. Then I said, okay, can we tell you a little about God Almighty? He said that he knows God Almighty exists because he's the one that created us, but they have their own gods. They don't want to listen. So after everything, the elders now persuaded the king. He listened to them, they spoke to them, and then they now asked him for a favor. They told the king that they are going to be sponsoring the community to drill water. They'll give them water, they'll give them light. They're going to do a lot of things for the community, that the king should please give them an opportunity to do this thing. The king said that's a welcome development. And then he asked them to bring things cooler and serve them. So they said no, that before they take their leave, they want to beg the king for one thing, that please, it will be unfair if they keep killing the multiple birth children, that they should try as much as possible to stop the killing, that when they stop the killing, they are going to make roads in the community, they are going to send their children to school, they will go to school outside the country. Immediately the king heard that, he said, oh, so you people want to carry the children in this community and take them outside the country for slave trade? They said no. They said no, that's not the case, that they are going to go to school and come back. Okay, fine. That okay, what they are going to do now is, a king, we are going to build secondary schools, we are going to build primary schools, and we are going to build universities in this community. Is that fair? The king say yes. It's now you are talking. That now it is now that they are talking, because he wants development in his community. That taking 2-4 children abroad will not give him the development he wants. It will be just serving a few persons. But in the case where they are bringing those things that hope they will not promise and fail, they say no, they will not promise and fail. Immediately they brought surveyors. They surveyed some land, they showed them lands there, they surveyed the lands, and that was how they began to. They came back after a week and started construction. They started by giving jobs to the people in the community as cleaners, as bricklayers. They taught them how to construct building. They taught them how to do messy work. These people that lay blocks, they taught them so many things. They came with their white people, they built. They took people from the community to teach them how to do all this construction, and it was wow. They did everything. Their primary school, they decided that they are going to train some teachers who would teach them in their local language and also in English. So they were tutoring their primary school teachers in English, and then they brought out one person to now teach them in their local language, and while one person is interpreting. It was awesome, beautiful. All the children they had called the wicked, witchcraft children, all those spiritual, all those children, like children who are autistic, children who have Down syndrome, all those children that they were mocking and all that, saying that they are demonic. The white men sat down and scolded them and told them no, they are not demonic, they are deficient in this, they are deficient in this. And that was how they made the community so happy. Some parents were like, discussing the matter, houses, homes were, in fact, things were just working out good for them. The community, they told the story around other communities that they've never seen a thing like this, and that was how they stopped the killing of twins. They stopped killing those twins that were born that period. They were saved. All the triplets that were born, the quadruplets, they stayed alive. That was the generation where they now had multiple births in that village, because the ones they had before, they had killed all of them. And that was how freedom came to the community. So they decided to look for tailors. They brought in tailors who taught other tailors how to sew. They brought fabrics. They started teaching them how to wear clothes, and they now started wearing clothes, and it was just so beautiful. The white men stayed with them for like a year. Some stayed for a year, some stayed for 2 years, some stayed for 3 years, until they were able to stay alone and work things out for themselves. And if you go to that community today, they named each of those schools, hospitals, and all by the names of those white men that came to their community.